Greetings, everyone. This is the Angry Nerd. Now, a lot of you have already known that I have expressed my disdain for Dragons: The Nine Realms. And this is the very reason why I began boycotting DreamWorks, personally. And as a matter of fact, I also noticed some very bad, sloppy history writing when it comes to the Nine Realms done by DreamWorks, and how it is inconsistent with the timeline of today as well as the timeline of How to Train Your Dragon. And let me explain here. As you can see, they claim it takes place 1300 years after the events of How to Train Your Dragon. So, when does How to Train Your Dragon take place? Well, let us see. So, one of the first recorded ratings of the Viking era was an attack in southern England, probably in Wessex, in 787. And then the Viking Age really began in earnest in 793, when the Viking raiders ended up attacking an English church in Northumbria known as Lindisfarne. So if Dragons: The Nine Realms takes place in 2022, around the time that the series was made, and it's 1300 years after the events of Hidden World, then that means that Hidden World would have taken place in 722, which was decades before the Viking Golden Age even began. The Viking Age also ended around 1066 when Harald Hardrada was defeated by Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Stamford Bridge in a failed attempt to conquer England. And since this is a Viking Age series, then certainly it would have to take place somewhere between 787 and 1066. However, in my research, my historical research, and given what Trader Johan once mentioned, certainly indicates that the How to Train Your Dragon series definitely takes place around the 8 or 900s. Of course, in my fanfiction series, it takes place around the same time as the time of the Great Heathen Army and whatnot, but it definitely takes place around the 8 or 900s.
Oh dear, there hasn't been destruction like this since Emperor Nicephorus and the Byzantines were mercilessly annihilated in the Battle of Pliska. They say that Khan Krum had Nicephorus' skull encased in silver and drank mead from it. Ruthless.
Trader Johan was right, because Emperor Nicephorus so foolishly decided to lead his men through a narrow passage in the mountains after coming back from a campaign plundering Bulgaria, and then Khan Krum was waiting for him. He did not send scouts out to check out the situation, and in the process, in the narrow passage in the mountains, Khan Krum was able to ambush Emperor Nicephorus in the narrow passage of the mountains at 4 a.m. in the morning, and apparently, the Byzantine army was caught completely off guard, and Emperor Nicephorus and his elite were massacred. And there were so many other barricades and traps set up for the men of the Eastern Roman Empire, so that those who attempted to flee ended up falling into these traps. It was not pleasant. Many of the Byzantine troops, or Eastern Roman troops further south, attempted to flee and ended up running into a large barricade. Some tried to set the barricade on fire, while others clambered over the barricade. Some caught fire themselves, others ended up in a deep ditch. Those who managed to escape the ditch then had to cross the river. So you can see that there were very few survivors at all. This Battle of Pliska ended up taking place around 811 AD. And Trader Johan's mention indicates that this happened some time ago. How long? It is not mentioned, but it certainly takes place after July 26th in 811 AD. Trader Johan's comments indicate that this battle happened some time ago, but let's be generous and say that it was only 10 years from the events of Race to the Edge, especially with this episode, Living on the Edge. That would make it the year 821. Hiccup is 19 years of age at this particular time. This means that the events of How to Train Your Dragon 2 would be in 822. meaning that this is the time when Hiccup is 20. So this would place How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World when Hiccup is 21 at the year 823 AD. And when Hiccup and Astrid have their kids, according to the How to Train Your Dragon wiki, this means that Hiccup Haddock is 30 years of age, which would put the series ending in the year 832 AD. Now add 1300 years to that. So apparently Dragon's Race to the Edge is supposed to take place today, but given all of that theory, if it's 10 years after the Battle of Pliska in that Race to the Edge episode, then that means that Dragons the Nine Realms would be taking place in the year 2132, which is over 100 years ahead of our time. And yet the technology they are using, like the drones and such, are pieces of technology that we are using today. This is serious lack of research as well as bad writing in the process from the writers. Did they think that we were stupid or something? What series are they going to mess up next? Oh, right. Another series that I really enjoyed has also been trashed. Different creators, but still, it was so good. Our entertainment is going down the drain. And given some things that should be historical or semi-historical, the authenticity is lacking. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps out the channel when you do that. Hit that bell so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching. Angry Nerd, out.